My name is Alan Carter, and I started the very first semester that classes were offered here. Well, 39 years ago, but in our 40th year now. So that's when I came here. I had worked a little bit with Paris Junior College back several years before that, but then I had decided to go back to school, actually get my accounting degree, and then I became a certified public accountant. And I was just working here in Mount Pleasant, had my own accounting firm and public accounting. It was kind of unusual how I got here. I wasn't really looking for a job, but the courses were about to start. It was like 2 weeks before classes began in that fall semester, and they had 5 or 6 sections of accounting that was ready to go. They had a lot of students in them. Somebody that worked here knew me from my years of Paris Junior College and called me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in teaching some of these accounting classes?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'll talk to you about it." So I went and visited. I met the president, Dr. DeWitt, who was president back then, a couple of the other administrators, and then some of the faculty. And when they asked me, "Do you want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." So I never really did an interview. I didn't go through that process. They kind of called me and said, "Hey, we need somebody." And I was available and ready to go. So I took it and I thought, I'll never do this forever, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it. It gave me a break from my accounting practice because I was still doing that too. And so I just decided to keep going. And I've been here for 39 years. I didn't really choose NTC. They more or less chose me. So that's kind of how that all developed and I got here. I wasn't really looking for a job at all, but it worked out. So yeah. Since I've been here so long, I have really seen a lot of changes take place, not with just necessarily personnel. A lot of administrators have come and gone, a lot of faculty have come and gone. But the one thing that stands out in my mind of what's changed is the demographics of students. When we first started, the average age of the students here was almost 40, which you wouldn't expect. But here's what happened is there was never a college here before. So a lot of mothers, especially that their children were now in school, they were free to go to school for the first time in their life. So we had a lot of those. We had a lot of working people that never had gone to school. They just worked, but they had a chance to get a college education. So a lot of older non-traditional students like you guys were here. And like I say, it was probably 38 to 40 was the average age. And we had more people coming to classes at night than we did in the daytime. But now over time, of course, that's changed. Now, probably the average age is about 22, and there's hardly anybody comes at night. It's all due to the students that are free to come right out of high school for the most part, and they do day classes, and then they can work in the afternoons or night. So the demographics of the students that we started with as to what we have now has been a major change. And that's what stands out in my mind. For the most part, business is an evolving thing. It does change. And when you get into just the field of accounting, at the level of accounting that I teach, it really has not changed that much because it's those basic fundamental things that just have to be a part of accounting. Now, what has changed in the accounting profession is some of the rules and the laws and some of the policies surrounding public accounting has changed. Tax laws change every year. So you got to kind of stay up with that. But I don't teach tax law. I just teach basic principles of accounting. But in the accounting profession, my goodness, it's a new thing every year. In fact, I'm required, in order to keep my CPA license active, I have to take 40 hours a year in professional development and continuing education courses just to keep up to date with all the things that have changed and to keep my license. So I never stopped going to school because of what I've chose to do, but it's good. It's important. It needs to be done. We've really put an emphasis in the last 10 years in public accounting on ethics, being ethical. There's been so much change with attitude and culture that sometimes people want to fudge a little bit. They want to break the rule and do this because it's beneficial to them. but there has been a real stress to say, hey, follow the rules, follow the law, and be ethical with how you conduct yourself with your clients and people in general, just public. So, but that's kind of, as far as the accounting, you have to deal with that as it changes and evolves. But what I teach hasn't really changed that much. It's kept me involved with younger people. And I think because I'm past retirement age, I could retire today if I needed to, but I don't really want to. But I enjoy being around some of the younger people. I enjoy working with these two ladies that are much younger than I am. In fact, they're the age of my children, but I enjoy working with them. They help me tremendously because everything's gotten so technology. This passed me by, and I don't really have a desire to learn that. So they know how to do it. They help me, but I get to stay around guys like y'all. And I just see it as it keeps me involved. It keeps me thinking young, keeps me thinking about you guys and what I need to do to teach. Hopefully, all in all, it's just made me a better teacher. I didn't really come here to be a college professor, but over time and doing what I do and being with other people and learning from other people, I think I've become a better instructor. At least I hope I have. That's kind of how I think I've developed. I may not be quite as patient now as I was. That's not a good sign, but I think as I get older, I want things done. I want done right. And sometimes I get frustrated with students that don't follow through with their commitment to do things on time and do it as the best they can. I get a little frustrated with that. My kids they can tell you that I was pretty demanding on them when they were going to public school and then ultimately when they went to college. I expected them to do well, and I expect all y'all to do well too. So that part of me is not a positive growth, but it's something that's developed over time. The faculty as a whole, we were so close early on. We did things together. We ate lunch together. We even had one of the administrators here early on hosted a fish fry for all of us and your family at his house, and we all get together. And I mean, it was like one big family. And every time we got close to Christmas, they're both gone now. In fact, Dr. Clinton, who was just retired as president, he was the music teacher. And then we had a drama teacher, and they loved to entertain. Well, at Christmas, the college would host a big Christmas lunch, and they would come and perform. I mean, Doug Hoppock was the drama teacher. He was just a great storyteller, and he would just tell some of the funniest stuff, and he always had a story, and he would make it into about a 30 or 40 minute storytelling, and it was just funny. And then Dr. Clinton would play the piano, and we'd sing Christmas carols and Christmas songs and stuff like that. And that was what we did for about the first 5 or 6 years. And then people started to come and go, and things changed, and we decided not to do that anymore. And that part I miss. I miss that part of it, and that was such a good time. And I think that's one reason I decided to stay. I had a good accounting practice. I was making money. I didn't have to teach, but I enjoyed it so much that it just was a great place to work. And we had such good friends and family atmosphere that I just decided, hey, I enjoy this. I like this. So I stayed. Now I've retired from my accounting practice, and I do this. And because of my workload here, it's not like I got to work from 8 to 5 every day, 40 hours a week. I take care of my classes and do what I need to do, but it's almost like being sort of semi-retired, and I don't work in the summers. We get a lot of vacation time, so it's a great place to work. Happy 40th anniversary, NTCC.